Hello everyone, my name is Michael SK and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry episode 3. I don't really know where to begin with what happened in the previous video. You all know what went down, I'm sure. If you don't, please go back and watch the last video because I'm just going to jump into the spoilers. Kumasawa is actually the original Beatrice, the one that we saw at the very beginning of episode 3 here, which I could not have seen coming because I had no idea what the opening to this episode was supposed to represent, other than the obvious that we've already been able to connect so far. That location is the secret mansion or property here on the island, of which no one here really knew about, including Rosa, who accidentally stumbled upon it and met a human trapped Beatrice. I don't know. Anyways, yes, the original Beatrice was actually, I guess, sealed, trapped. I don't really know. And I guess through all these renditions that we're getting of this story that has unlocked this seal with Kumasawa. And now the original Beatrice was able to come to be again. There was an epic battle with magic and whatever else. All the shonen anime enjoyers, just really ate it all up, I'm sure. But it was something else. Lots of cool visuals and, this and that, and I have no idea what the fuck even happened. But it was great. It was something I could not have expected. But now that Kumasawa's dead, for surezies, she took the longest, it seemed. The 6 have been chosen and have been swept away for the first twilight. All the servants and Kinzo, which means it's just the family members that are left alive. All the parents and their children. That's it. Or at least I'm pretty sure. Oh, Dr. Nanjo. I kind of forgot about him then. But yeah, that's all we got. That's all that remains. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to go down. And I'm more curious how Kumasawa is going to be treated in future episodes, now that we know the secret. There would have been no way to tell that morning had come without opening a window and looking up at the cloudy sky, which had become a tiny bit lighter. It wasn't a refreshing morning. All that could be heard was the sound of the rain, which hadn't stopped falling since last night, and the howl of the wind. Oh, I brought this up at the end of the previous video, but hey, there are now people that were completely unable to make it, through the night, that have been able to make it through the night for the first time. This is the first time that we're seeing Battler's parents actually make it through. Wait a minute, there's no way. There's no way that these guys have been arguing and discussing and whatever else about the situation until 6 in the morning. There's no way they kept at it. That's what I'm saying. Jesus Christ, guys. Look, I like money as much as the next person. I like solving mysteries as much as the next person, but god damn. As they all stretched, they enjoyed this unrefreshing morning as best as they could. Well, yeah, you stayed up all night. What do you think was going to happen? Oh yeah, I wonder how everybody is being presented this time around. In episode 1, everybody had their faces slashed in differing ways and thrown in the fucking shed. In episode 2, it was a Halloween party in the chapel that I didn't know about. As soon as they exited the corridor, Kirie openly made a disgusted expression.
どうしましたか？ねえ、何かひどい匂いがしない？
ん？なんやこの匂いは。こらたまらんで。
After hearing those complaints, everyone stuck their heads out into the corridor. The stench was faint, but once people started commenting on it, it was clearly noticeable. Each of them went into the corridor, relying on their own sense of smell to tell them where this strange odor was coming from.
一体何事でしょう？現時に対応させましょう。
Yeah, about that.
きっともう使用人室に来ていて、朝の準備をしているはずです。
頼む。まさかあのゴーダに限ってこんな匂いをさせる朝食を作っているとは思いがたいのだがね。
Rudolph and the others searched for the source of the smell and determined that it was coming from underground. Are they all burning alive? Or I guess they're not alive, but are they all burning? From the boiler room, yes. This lovely location, which I don't think we have explored at all in episode 2. I don't remember, at least. The door was locked and they couldn't check inside. At the same time, when Natsuhi's group, was on its way to search for someone in the servant room, they noticed something strange near the parlor.
何ですかこれは？ひどいいたずらだわ。誰がこんなことを？
What is it? I want to see. Oh, it's this. Okay. Well, they're about to find the bodies. On the door to the parlor, drawn in a paint that looked like blood, was a strange thing that looked like a magic circle.
厨房にはまだ誰も来てないわ。何よそれ？
Ava's group, who had thought the smell might be coming from the kitchen, had returned after confirming that no one was there and that preparations for breakfast had not yet begun. Then they noticed the change to the parlor.
ダメだな。ボイラー室は鍵がかかってる。ボイラーの故障とかそういうのだとまずいんじゃないのか？使用人は誰かいたか？
So it probably is the boiler room that the servants plus Kinzo have been thrown. Actually, I don't even know what state Kinzo's body is going to be in. He got like ridiculously burned up. Unless they are all, thrown into the furnace or whatever. I think they might have had to been in order to avoid anybody, standing out, because Kinzo would be the one standing out in any other situation.
その悪趣味な落書き、ここにもあるの？ボイラー室の扉にもあったのよ。
Wait, there's two of them this time?
なんやってこの薄気味悪い落書きがここだけじゃなく他にもあるっちゅうんか。まさか森の魔女ベアトリーチェの宣戦布告っちゅうわけやないやろな。
Hideyoshi tried to make fun of it, but staring at this creepy magic circle while listening to the wind and rain really made it seem like a message from a witch. The dripping of bright red blood made one think of blood. Wait, bright red paint, excuse me. Made one think of blood, which made it even creepier. Getting ahead of myself here. Hideyoshi tried to open the door, but it had been locked. As a general rule, the parlor wasn't locked. Someone had gone out of their way to lock it.
これはどういうこと？
Yeah, so it is multiple locations. That is weird. I mean, this could be a first where the group has been divided up a little bit here.
私たちが食堂で話し合いをしている最中に誰かがこっそりとこの落書きを残したというの。
Maybe this could also explain, at least on the magic side, why Kinzo had to be burned up in episode 1 whenever he was killed. It's because, well, that's just Beatrice's way of having to kill him.
客間とボイラー室の扉に。どうせ使用人の仕業よ。私たちはずっと一緒だったのよ。全員にアリバイがある。おそらくお父様に何かおかしな指示を受けてこんないたずらをしたのよ。
昨日のマリアちゃんの手紙の件も含めて使用人連中が親父の手先になって何かを企んでる可能性は十分疑えるからね。とにかくみんなどこに嫌がるんだ。まさかかくれんぼってわけでもねえだろうに。
Well, yeah.
探そうぜ。
それより私は子供たちが気になるわ。
Oh, yeah, we're parents. Oh, shit.
私確かめてくるついでにゲストハウスに使用人の人がいないか見てくるわ。
なら手分けだな。ゲストハウスにガキどもの様子を見に行く間俺たち考えたくね こんな薄気味悪い落書きがここだけってことはねえかもしれねえ。親父殿のおかしなゲームに巻き込まれているのかも。
Holy shit, Kraus, you're actually right on the money.
私は親父殿のところへ行って事情を聞いてみよう。
Yeah, good luck with that.
まあ、素直に話を聞いてくれるとは思えんな。
Oh shit, that's actually kind of fucked. He's gonna think everything's normal with Kinzo because he's actually not responding to him. It would be abnormal if he actually did respond. The adults split up. As a result, they confirmed that the 4 children were safe in the so-called cousin's room on the 2nd floor of the guest house. They had apparently stayed up last night playing. All of them were snoring loudly, so Rosa decided not to wake them. Furthermore, Nanjo, who had returned early from the previous night to rest, was also safe. It seemed he believed in the phrase early to bed, early to rise, and had awoken refresh, During that time, Kirie and Hideyoshi searched for the servants, but they didn't find them. The servant room in the guest house was also empty. You know, it's weird. It's such a weird feeling that this time around we do know who's dead. We know who's dead to start this lovely game. Where in episode 2, we had a general idea because we were shown the people that were probably going to die. It's just that Rosa was also there.
使用人室は空っぽや。勤務表を見ても早番は6時からってことになっとる。もうお勤めをしてなきゃならん頃や。
仮眠室も空っぽよ。布団を抜け出した跡はあるけど暖かくはなかったわ。
こら、クラウス兄さんたちの想像が当たったんとちゃうか。多分お父さんの指示で仕組んだゲームなんや。
Yeah.
あの不気味な
A
落
very
書きを
fucked up
残して
game of
どこかに
sorts.
姿を隠してわしらに何かをさせたいに違いないんや。
遺産や家督を誰が引き継ぐにふさわしいか確かめようっていうことですか。いくらなんでもそれは。
いいえ、お父様だったらそういうことをしてもおかしくないかもしれない。
何しろお父さんは大仕掛けが大好きや。例の碑文を大広間に掲げた時から練りに練った計画だったのかもしれへんで。
I mean, to a degree.
ならゲームの開始宣言。
Hideyoshi,
もしく
you
は
are
ゲームの説明などがあったりはしないのかしら。
you are somewhat on point here.
マリアちゃんに渡したような紋章入りの封筒が出てきても良さそうだけど。
そうね。ひょっとすると屋敷で兄さんたちがそれを見つけたかもしれないわね。
南條先生、あんたなんか聞いてませんか。
申し訳ありませんが、私にも何が何だかさっぱりです。
I feel so bad for Nanjo. The thing is that I feel he's he's probably the most innocent out of everybody here whatsoever. Out of everybody we've ever met, he's just an unfortunate soul that's been thrown into all of this.
ただ、なるほど。
And so far, I have like no reason to suspect him either.
大仕掛けを打つことは私にも容易に想像できます。
一度屋敷に戻らんか。なんか向こうで見つけたかもしれんで。
あ、お邪魔でなければ私も
私はここに残るわ。上にマリアたちが寝てる。何が起こってるかわからないんだもの。子供たちを放ってはいけないわ。
そうね。私もローザさんとここで留守番してるわ。うちの人にそう伝えていただけませんか。
Rosa and Kirie remained in the guest house. Hideyoshi went with Nanjo and returned again to the mansion. Well, it's nice to see Rosa being a little bit more motherly this time around and actually wanting to look over everybody. At the same time, in the mansion, in a way that was hard to believe, or maybe we should say, in a way that gave him a bad feeling, Rudolph's prediction was spot on. The same magic circle graffiti that had been drawn on the doors of the boiler room and the parlor have been found in multiple places throughout the mansion. Have all 6 bodies been split up?
兄貴、親父の方はどうだ。
いや、ダメだ。何の反応もない。一応扉に耳も当ててみたのだが、何の気配も感じなかった。
使用人の姿はどこにもありません。一体どこへ姿を消したのやら。
What an odd feeling, honestly. Because this time around, well, I guess similar to episode 2, It's a very specific group of people that are gone. Rosa was the only remaining of that group in the last episode. It must have been very odd.
冗談じゃないわ。
It's just that there was a very obvious split. Now you had the servants and Kinzo and the remaining family
お
members.
父様も使用人も姿を消し、屋敷中のあちこちにおかしな魔法陣だらけ。一体何が起こってるっていうのよ。
I have to remind myself that Ava is supposed to have the spotlight in this episode to a degree. There weren't only magic circles on the door to the boiler room and the door to the parlor. There were 2 on the 2nd floor, and 1 on the 3rd floor for a total of 5. They were all the same magic circle, and all of the doors had been locked, so they couldn't check inside the rooms.
とにかく
Well,
まずはボイラー室を何とかしよう。
Renove, he decided to do a very fun closed room challenge for Battler this time, if we recall. That's what he said at the end of the previous video.
故障で
So here we
火事に
go.
なったりとか爆発したりとかしたら大変だ。となりゃ鍵だな。
使用人室にキーボックスがあったはずです。
I don't really know why, nobody grabbed that. They've already been in the servant room. They fished through the key box. Because each of the servants carried their master keys around, those weren't kept there. However, all of the individual keys should have been there, are they not?
よくもこれだけぎっしりと鍵があるものだよ。
What if specifically the keys to these very, very specific rooms are gone?
ないわ。
Yep.
何度探しても
Here
ボ
we
イラー
go.
室の鍵が見つからないわ。
見ろよ姉貴。例の魔法陣の書かれた部屋の鍵だけが綺麗にぽっかりと抜けてるぜ。
Damn, I called that one.
本当ですね。これは困りました。まるで魔法陣の部屋に入ってほしくないかのようね。いいえ、わざわざ魔法陣でアピールしてるんだから入ってほしいのかしら。
Oh yeah, what a lovely closed room situation we actually have here. Because everybody is going to have their master key on them, all the servants, and then there's Kinzo. And then you're going to have the situation of the keys to open those rooms specifically are also completely gone. They could also just be on the persons that are dead in those rooms, I'm sure. So how do you explain somebody doing all of that and then dipping out? Because I'm sure they're going to find the keys with the bodies however they get into these rooms.
俺は後者だと思うぜ。扉をぶち破るのは映画じゃあるまいし無理だろう。窓を破ればなんとかなるかもな。
For a while, Krause pondered over whether the situation really called for smashing a window. At that time, Hideyoshi and Nanjo returned. There was nothing strange in the guest house, and the children were safe. They told the others that Rosa and Kirie had stayed to watch over the place.
おはようございます。何やらおかしなことになったそうですな。
Yeah, it's a little bit of an understatement.
おはようございます。
Something
南條先生
very strange has happened.
早朝から起こしてしまったようで申し訳ありませんが。
なんや、手紙の類は見つからんのか。わしはてっきりそういうのが見つかったとばかり思っとったんや。
そうね。私もこれはお父様の壮大な冗談か何かのゲームだと信じてる。でもそうなら必ずそれを伝える手紙があるはずよね。マリアちゃんに手紙を与えたように。
Actually, yeah, there was a letter in episode 2. Kind of just taunting them about, Halloween or whatever, I'm pretty sure.
ゲーム開始宣言はまさにあのマリアちゃんの手紙だったのかもしれねえぜ。
Yes,
自
there you
分の
go.
謎を解いてみろと。すでにゲームの内容は示されてるさ。
なら屋敷から5つも見つかった魔法陣には姿の見えない使用人もだ。
夏日姉さん、使用人って今日は全部で何人いたかしら。
現地に合田に5人ですが何か。
There you go.
使用人が5人、魔法陣も5つか。偶然だろうが気になるな。
兄さん、窓を破りましょう。中を確認するべきだわ。
仕方ないな。綺麗に頼むよ。
Oh, there's no neat way of breaking a window. I'm sorry to say. You don't do that. I mean, sure, you can make it, ridiculously messy, but it's gonna happen either way. Krause made his decision and gave permission to smash a window. And he decided that the first room they would break into should be the parlor on the first floor, where the windows would be easiest to reach. You can't really break into the fucking boiler room. That is a rough situation on that one. They will have to acquire a key from one of the corpses in order to really go elsewhere. They had hoped to peek in through the window, but the curtains were down, so they couldn't see inside. Rudolph wandered around the garden, trying to find something that would be good for smashing the window. Eventually, he found a rock bigger than a fist and came back.
全部割ることはないわよ。鍵が回せる程度に開けてくれれば十分。
あまり期待には添えないかもしれないぜ。
Rudolph raised the rock and hit the glass with it several times. Yes, damage, violence, destruction. Eventually, he succeeded in opening a hole big enough that he could unlock it from the outside. Covering his hand with a handkerchief, he stuck his hand through the hole and cautiously unlocked it.
後でガムテープで塞いだ方がいいだろうな。雨が吹き込んじまうぜ。
It's not a problem. When he suddenly opened the window, the wind and rain made the curtain dance around violently. The curtain was blown to the side. They could see into the parlor they knew well. Are they going to see the body? They were a little relieved. They thought there might be another bizarre magic circle inside the room, or possibly the traces of some creepy ceremony. In any event, they didn't want to hang around in the rain, so the six of them, Kraus, Natsuhi, Ava, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Najo, entered the parlor as a group.
特に変わったところはないようですな。
どうしましたか？
Oh shit, okay, here we
ちょ
go.
っとちょっと大丈夫なの？どうしたのよあんた？
Yeah, wait, where is she? How is she positioned?
ちや南條先生見たってや。
おい、シャノンちゃん、大丈夫か？返事をしろい。
揺さぶってはいけません。今容体を見ます。
She had been in the shadow of the sofa, so they hadn't noticed her until they had entered the room. Shannon was lying on the floor, her chest stained bright red with blood. Here we go. Yes, I know, closed room. Do we really need to do this? We all know what's coming. Yes, you will. You literally bullied him for like 5 minutes straight at the end of the previous video. And you did that too in episode 2. I remember that shit. All those goddamn sound effects. Battler was crouching under the table, holding his head. His pitiful figure made it plainly clear that he didn't want to see anything, didn't want to hear anything. Had he heard Beatrice's sneering voice? Could he not hear? Or was he pretending that he couldn't hear? In any event, it was clear that he had closed up his heart like a shell. Okay, so I've been told about this a couple or so times in the comments so far in this episode. So, Renove. People told me to check out Genji's profile and notice that the last name that he has is very similar to Renove. It's just, instead of a V, it's a U. So I did notice that. I'm pretty sure that's the only difference. So it is similar. And I was also told to go back and check out his magic profile from episode 2, of which I did. And it actually didn't list his last name in the profile. It just said Genji. But it did say that a high-ranking demon helped in the creation of Genji. So just some things to think about. This is all stuff that I just, quickly read over before starting this recording session. So I've got these things in my head. I've got no predictions or anything really to say. It's just, I've known about the, the Renove and Genji, there's something going on there, since pretty much we met Renove. It's just, their interactions together were very interesting,
なあバトラー反論がないならリザインを頼むぜ
Oh, he won't do that.
お前の手番なんだ何か刺すとかパスするとかさもなきゃ降参するとかしてくれねえと話が前に進まねえよえ何何聞こえないぞ
黙れっつっ ってんだ。ああ、うるせえうるせえうるせえ。何か魔女だ、何か魔法だ。好き勝手にやればいいじゃねえかよ。俺は信じねえ、何も信じねえ。クソクソクソクソ。俺に話しかけるな、何も見せるな、消えろ消えろ消えちまえや。俺にそのムカつく顔を近づけるな。
Damn, Battler has to have like one breakdown per episode, it seems. Beatrice winced reflectively at Battler's sudden rage.
そうは言うがな。お前の手番が終わらんと、わらわの手番も来ぬ。
Damn, Beatrice is a fucking freak, and in a good way. Or maybe not, but she really just wants to play this game. You know, that's kind of what she's, you know, shooting for. This is her excitement.
あまりわらわを退屈させるなと言いたいのだが。
知るかよ、黙れよ、うるせえんだよ。お前のゲームなんか知るかよ。付き合ってらんねえんだよ。俺の番が終わらねえとてめえの番が来ねえってんなら永遠に待ってやがりゃいいだろうが。
Oh, she doesn't want that.
ああ、知らねえ知らねえ、わからねえ。魔女も魔法も認めねえ。あんなめちゃくちゃも認めねえ。うわー、俺に話しかけるなっつってんだ。
Nice. Oh shit. What do we got going on here? What is happening? I have no idea. Okay, cool. Fantastic. I don't know what's what anymore. After being shown something that screwed up, how could I resist? Yeah, that was a lot. That, like I said, a lot of cool visuals and shit, a lot of shonen anime bullshit. But, yeah, I mean, how else are you supposed to, you know, really take that and convert it into something that happened in reality? All I can say is 6 people somehow died. And it got ridiculous with one of them that was supposed to have a tie-in with somebody from the past. I wandered aimlessly through the Rose Garden. It was raining and windy, but that didn't mean my body got wet, excuse me. There was just a feeling of isolation as I wandered amidst the wind and rain without an umbrella. In a way, yes, but it's weird. You've lost, but you're trying to completely turn that around. Like, the game is done. There's really no game to play. It's kind of a weird situation that we have here because we see all this. Our perspective literally contains nothing now except for all of this shit that is of magic and crazy shit that should not be able to happen in, you know, reality. But I don't know. I don't know. We see all this. We're interacting with characters that have magic. Kinzo, Genji, fucking Maria, Kanun, Shanun. They all have magic. Apparently, Battler has ridiculous magic resistance. There's all these things, and it's like, how do we fight against it when all of it is right in our fucking face? Actually, didn't we already have a clear winner and loser in the last game? After all, I surrendered for a time. That's why the world was tinted with witches and magic. Right now, Rokkenjima is a different world where witches stride around openly and fire off strange spells. It isn't a matter of accepting it or denying it. Maybe I mistakenly assumed that I was playing a game on an even footing with Beato. Maybe I was already defeated in the last game, and this is just the signing ceremony of my surrender. We're not singing shit. A minute ago, a terrible battle unfolded in this rose garden. I saw it with my own eyes. I kicked the ground. Obviously, the ground was hard, and water from a puddle splashed. Several towers had split this ground, sprouting like high-rise buildings. The more I kicked this ground, the more it felt like that couldn't possibly have happened. But for that very reason, I couldn't explain it with anything other than magic anymore.
密室に鍵が閉じ込められてとかってやつならよくある推理小説の延長だろってことはわかるさ。でもあれはな。
Yeah, that was a whole nother fucking ballpark right there.
あのドッカンドッカンってのはな。くっそー。
私の弟子が随分と迷惑をかけているようです
Yeah, she did speak to us. She was here with us for a moment. And I don't really know what that means because she was able to completely escape the confines of this new rendition of this story and speak to Battler that was looking from the outside in.
あんたは
Someone suddenly spoke to me as I turned around, and in the Rose Garden Arbor was the predecessor Beatrice, whom Beatrice had supposedly defeated a short while ago. What is this, like her ghost or passing spirit or some shit? Or is she like a real character on the outside? That's what's really fucking, weird to me. How does she really place herself in the, overall situation?
生きてたのか。
いいえ、死にましたよ。
Then how are you here?
今の私は取られた駒がチェス盤の外でくつろいでいるだけに過ぎません。
あんたはベアトの師匠なんだろう。ってことはつまり、あんたも魔女
Nah, no way. No way, Battler.
ええ、そうですよ。
ってことはつまり、やっぱり魔女はいるってことで決まりなわけだろ
Okay, you asking that question is kind of killing us here. But the thing is, and I brought this up before, contradictions and shit.
そして、あいつを倒せるのは俺じゃない。すげえ魔法使えるあんたの方じゃねえか。俺はもうお役ごめんさ。俺にできることなんて。
おやおや、すっかり屈服してしまいましたか。
屈服も何も、あれをどう説明すりゃいいんだよ。塔が生えたり、落ちてきたり、でっけえ巨人が盾を構えたり、槍を投げたり。
I mean, I'm holding on to the idea that you basically just have to say none of that actually ever happened.
ああ、思い出すだけでも気が変になりそうだぜ。もう推理もヘチマもあったもんじゃねえ。トリックとか人間犯人説とか、そんな領域をとっくに超えてるだろ。ああ、畜生畜生畜生畜生。
落ち着いて、私はあの子のゲーム版の駒に過ぎない。こうして番外へ取り除かれてしまえば、もはや何もできない存在。
I mean, what you can also argue is that this is supposedly the story that Beatrice is trying to tell to further her argument that magic, witches, and all of that, truly do exist, which means, in reality, Kumasawa is just Kumasawa. It's just that she's utilizing her character to convert her over to this, magical being that explains all this and that of which she is coming up with. So if we want to believe in, anything but this, we basically have to say, no, none of that actually did happen. Kumasawa is just Kumasawa. Nothing happened here in the garden or wherever the fuck they had their beautiful battle.
しかしあなたはあの子の対戦相手。あなたが自ら投げ出さない限り、あなたには常にあの子に一矢報える力があるのだから。
So long as he doesn't believe, we're okay.
うるせえ。あんただっておかしな呪文を唱えて、塔だの槍だのを呼び出してたじゃねえかよ。何を一矢報いるってんだよ。俺にも魔法を教えてくれて、あいつとあの大魔法バトルを繰り広げろっていうのかよ。
あなたが望むなら、あなたに魔法の一端を教えてあげてもいいですよ。
Wait, again, isn't that creating a contradiction of what we're trying to argue?
願ったり叶ったりだぜ。あいつの胸板にズドンと打ち込んでやれるようなすっげえ魔法一発頼むぜ。はっ、なめんなってんだ。
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we just have to keep going against all of this.
というものがあるそうですね。ご存知ですか？
雨乞い？バンバン火をくべて演武を奉納して雨を祈るっていうあれか？
That's beyond me.
あれは魔法じゃねえだろ。火で上昇気流ができて、その結果雨雲が集まるっていうれっきとした科学現象のはずだぜ。
おや、私は東洋魔法の一つだと信じていましたが、魔法ではないのですか。天に聖なる火を捧げ、敬いの演武を捧げることで、神々の心に雨乞いの嘆願が届くものと信じておりましたよ。
Again, this is completely beyond me.
大昔の連中はそうだったろうよ。でも、その手のオカルトは大抵科学的に説明がつくもんだ。
物が燃えるのはどうしてですか？
I don't know, fire?
物質にフロギストンが含まれているからでは？
Sorry guys, I never did good in chemistry either.
いや、物が燃えるのは酸化反応だ。フロギストン説はラボアジェが否定したはずだぜ。
物に熱が伝わるのはどうしてですか？物質にカロリックが含まれているからでは？
そいつは確かジュールが否定したはずだ。熱はエネルギーであって物質じゃない。
よくお勉強していますね。
No, he actually really is smart. Smarter than I could ever want to be.
正しい知識ですよ。
ちょいとした雑学レベルだがな。
Again, knowledge I don't have.
フロギストンもカロリックも、果てはエーテルも、神の愛さえも、科学的な説明の前には無力ですね。私はかつて、木からリンゴが落ちるのは、人に食を与えるための神の愛のおかげだ。
How far back are we going here? I mean, I guess she is the original endless witch. But no, we all know about the falling apple.
重力すらも神の愛なのか？まあ、科学より宗教が万物を説明した時代の名残だろうぜ。
You know, I guess you can argue that science is a bit of magic. I mean, it can kind of confuse the mind at times. Unless you actually know what is causing things to happen, well, can your brain properly, figure all that shit out? Back then, they didn't really understand the concept of gravity. And I'm sure cavemen didn't understand that, like, oh, if I stick my hand in this fire, it's going to hurt. There's a whole lot of things that you just can't really connect the dots to because, well, there was no explanation for things, but now there is.
その通りです。人類はかつて自らの知識の限
That's
界
kind
を
of like the situation we're in here, kind of.
無知そのものを魔法と呼んだのです。先ほどの雨乞いの話はまさにそれでしょう。
We don't understand why, all these things are happening. It's being explained with magic because we don't actually understand the real reasonings.
雲を呼ぶことを科学的に理解していたでしょうか。理解せずともそういう結果になることだけは知っていた。
そういうのは結構あるかもな。先人たちの知恵ってやつさ。理由は分からずとも長い経験でそういう結果が得られることを知っていた。原理を理解できない現象は多分彼らにとっては魔法も同然だったろうな。
Like this person just said, ancient people who didn't understand those principles probably believed that. Through the rain ceremony, their wishes would reach the heavens and make rain fall. And honestly, coincidences also do happen. People who pray for things, or people who wished for things, and, whatever magical ceremonies and such. If things actually worked out their way, then, I mean, at the end of the day, that's coincidence. I hope I'm not offending anybody here, but yeah, I mean, you guys kind of get what I'm saying here, right? Like, if things don't work out your way, that just means that well, it doesn't mean that your message wasn't heard, or you didn't do that doesn't mean that you failed the ceremony, or whatever. No, it's just nothing was supposed to happen because nothing could happen. Unless you're performing something or doing an action that is supposed to have a proper response, then you're not probably going to get a response. Hopefully that makes some sense. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about anymore. To them, that was certainly magic. As long as they didn't understand updrafts.
電気のスイッチを押せば明かりがつく。
Yes.
子供は電球がなぜ発光するのか、その科学的原理を知らず、
We also all know our
結
and,
果だけを知っていて
or, and whatever
スイッ
else
チを
gates,
押
right?
す。原理を知らずとも結果を得られるならば、それは彼らにとって魔法なので
We've
はあ
all
りませ
played
んか。
Minecraft. That's basically what I'm trying to get at.
面白い話だな。まあ理屈から言やそうだ。例えば俺たちはテレビのブラウン管にどうして画像が映るのか。
But there is a science behind it.
テレビに物が映るのは当たり前だと思ってる。ブラウン管の原理を知らなくてもスイッチを押せばテレビが見られることだけは知っている。上昇気流を理解せずに雨乞いをするのと全く同じだ。つまり原理を知らないならばテレビだって魔法も同然。いや魔法そのものだろうってわけか。
I mean, even as a kid, it's like, yeah, you turn on the TV and you can, flip through all these channels that are just there, right? You might get like told, oh yeah, we're paying for these channels or whatever, but does money equals your TV working? in a very broad sense, kind of, but there's obviously a whole lot more to it. But as a child who doesn't really understand the sciences behind why things work the way they do, I don't think you'd call it magic, but your brain doesn't know what's really going on.
分解してその中身を見たことは？
ねえよ。本か何かで構造を読んだ気もするが、難しくてさっぱりだ。確か電子が蛍光物質にぶつかるとき発光してどうだろうこうだな。
それは偽書です。真実はブラウン管の中にグ
Yeah,
レムリンという妖精が閉じ込められていて、魔法で仕事をしてくれているからなのですよ。
はあ？バカなこと言うなよ。そんなわけねえだろ。
ブラウン管の中を覗いたこともないのに、どうして否定を？
覗いたことはねえが、絶対にそんな妖精はいないと断言できるさ。
ここにブラウン管がない以上、実証は不能ですよ。
Yeah, I've heard about
確か
this
に今こ
before.
の瞬間は実証不能だが、後でどこかのテレビをばらしてみせればすぐに論破できるさ。
ということは、ブラウン管の中にグレムリンが閉じ込められていて、その魔法で映像を映し出しているという私の魔法説は、ブラウン管の中身を検証するまで否定不能ということになりますね。
なんだよあれか？悪魔の証明だって言いてえのか？
Yeah, kinda.
お前たち魔女のお箱だぜ。
悪魔の証明は消極的事実の証明が不可能であることを逆手に取った詭弁です。しかし今のブラウン管の話は違う。テレビをたった1台分解すれば済むだけの話ですよ。
Yeah, it's something that you could just easily do, where on the flip side, it's supposed to use with a completely impossible situation. If bronze tubes were completely discontinued and you can never get your hands on them again, well, there you go. Devil's proof can work.
そうだな。確かに悪魔の証明とは異なるな。
あなたの提唱する科学的説明と私の提唱する魔法的説明、そのどちらかが真実です。
No, I watched an anime about this before. Not necessarily theories, but when the two sides clash or whatever.
それを確かめる瞬間の直前まで私たちは互いの説を否定できないのです。つまり真実は一つであるにもかかわらず、ブラウン管の中を覗く直前までは相反する真実が同時に2つ存在することができる。
And that's sort of where we stand right now. We have a magical story and we really need to create a more, sense of realism type story going
一
on.
つしか存在してはいけない真実が2つ同時に存在できる異空間。
If anything, episode 1 really stands on its feet like that. I mean, yeah, there's a couple things that we haven't been able to figure out. The closed rooms, people go missing, and then we can't really structure some alibis. And also, just people straight up fucking dying, and things being where they really shouldn't be able to, get at. So, there was the story that we perceived, but then there's being told all these things that happened to make things, go the way they did. There's two stories that I guess you could say are truth. And until one of them gets disproven, we have two sides of this coin playing on at the same time. Is the cat in the box alive or dead? Here we go. If you open the box, you will learn the answer. God damn, what is with visual novels always using the fucking Schrodinger's cat deal? Like, it's ridiculous. I love it. You will learn the truth. However, until you open the box, you can claim that the cat is alive, and you can also claim that it is dead. Both claims are the correct truth according to the people making them, and even though the two sides are in conflict, neither can win the argument as long as the box remains unopened. In other words, two truths can exist at the same time, even though there can only be one cat in the box. It is packed with a living cat and a dead cat, forming a strange separate world. And here we are. It is an interesting way to look at what is going on here, isn't it? That is what Rokkenjima is now. This island is now a different world where a scientific theory and a magical one can exist at the same time. To a resident of the world of science such as yourself, at a glance it may feel as though this island has been sucked into a world of magic. But we're smarter than that. That might not be wrong, but it is not accurate. Strictly speaking, it has been moved from the world of science to the gap between the world, or that world, and the world of magic. So at a glance, it appears to you as though the world is tilted towards the magical side. But in reality, this island is now in a perfectly impartial position with relation to those two opposing worlds. I like this.
よくわからねえ。現実と魔法の中間？限りなく公平な世界？どこがだよ。俺に圧倒的に不利な展開ばっかりじゃねえかよ。
ならばこう考えるといいでしょう。これは裁判です。あなたとベアトリーチェが相反する主張を繰り広げている法廷だと考えるのです。ブラウン管裁判でもいいでしょう。あの子はブラウン管の中には妖精が入っていると主張している。そして中に入っている妖精がどのような生態でどのような姿なのか、どのような魔力を持っているのかを次々に説明する。そしてあなたは？
まあ図書館で勉強してブラウン管の構造を説明して反論するだろうよ。
この瞬間、法廷にはあなたの主張とあの子の主張が同時に存在する。もしもあの子の主張に耳を傾けたならば、それはあたかも真実に聞こえてしまうかもしれない。
Yeah, I mean, it's easy.
見えてしまうかもしれない。
It's easy to accept everything that's been happening to us because that's all we've been seeing. We've been seeing this perspective of magic only. We haven't seen a hint of what could really be going on. That's the problem. Because as soon as we do, then we can completely reject the magic. But it's easy to accept what's been shown to us because then we don't have to think. The work has been done for us.
今この瞬間のロッケン島には確かに魔女も魔法も真実として存在するかもしれない。しかしそれは猫の箱が開かれる瞬間までの不確定な波動関数の世界。すべての状態が同時に説明できる。しかし真実は一つです。それは観測されることによって収縮し、無数の真実が淘汰されてたった一つの真実になる。法廷で例えるならば、これは裁判長による判決行為にも似ているでしょう。検察側、弁護側がそれぞれに主張する2つの真実は
Only one make it out.
判決によって収縮し一つとなるのです。
あんたの言葉を借りると、つまり今のこの島はブラウン管の中を覗く直前の世界ってわけなんだな。だからこそ科学説も魔法説もどちらも否定できない。否定できないってことはつまり
どちらも真実として存在できる。
And that is where we're at.
だから魔女も魔法も存在し得る。しかし同時にそれを否定するあなたの意見もまた真実として同時に存在できる。相反する2つが同時に存在できる世界。そして相反する真実が互いを否定する理由にできない世界。理解できてきましたか？
つまりベアトがどんなすげえ魔法を俺に見せようとも、それは魔法説の主張でしかなく、俺を否定することには当たらない。
No, because again, she's running the show here. This is her story, and she's going to tell it really however she wants to. If you go back to court, you have, the defense, and you also have, the person that's going against the defense. Both are going to have possibly two conflicting sides of a story, and they're going to clash in many different ways. There's going to be moments where things seem truthful in one, and moments where things may seem more truthful in another. But when you're telling the story, it's the way that you perceive it, right? It's your story. You call the shots.
ベアトがどんな魔法を俺に見せようとも、この世界ではそれをもって魔法が存在する証拠にはなり得ないってこと。
そうです。あの子は木からリンゴが落ちることすらも魔法で説明しようとするでしょう。あの子は一見杖を振るって魔法にてリンゴをもぎ取り大地に落としたかのように主張するかもしれない。しかしそれはあの子の主張の一つに過ぎないのです。あの子のいかなる主張も あなたの主張する機会を拒むことはできない。その意味においてこの世界は双方にあまりに公平なのです。
なるほど。だがよ、その論法で言ったなら、たとえ俺が科学説で正論を示したところで奴の魔法説と正面衝突を起こすだけで俺もまた奴を論破できない。
It's gonna be a back and forth until something really sticks out that, destroys a lot of the theories, a lot of the things that have been brought up in her story.
しかもそのファイナルジャッジはブラウン管を除かない限りつかない。この世界のブラウン管はどこにあるんだ。俺たちに議論なんて必要ないってことになる。俺たちは仲良くブラウン管の中身を除けばいいだけの話じゃねえのか。中に妖精が本当にいたら俺の全面敗北だ。いなかったら逆に俺の勝ち。俺たちはブラウン管を除かずにどうして論争を繰り広げなくちゃならないんだ。
それこそがあの子があなたに挑んだゲームなのです。裁判ではなくチェスと例えるべきでしょう。
No, we use that way too goddamn often.
勝敗は裁判官が決めるのではない。戦っているあなたたち自身が決めるのです。
真実が同時に存在できるめちゃくちゃな世界で
現にあなたは論破されて今こうして屈服していますよ。
Yeah, like I said, it's like every episode he has to give up. There's gonna be times where he is going to feel defeated like
今
this.
私に助言できるのはここまでです。
It makes the most sense. When somebody swings something hard hitting at you, how the hell are you supposed to, go against it, especially after what you had just seen, like this whole situation here, or the closed room situations in both episode 1 and 2, and what we're, I guess, about to be introduced to here in episode 3.
もしもあなたが望むなら時折助言を与えましょう。
ああ、ありがとう。助かるぜ。あんたの仇も。
ありがとう。
Okay, another contradiction. If you avenge her, then you're basically, accepting that she
期
existed,
待していますよ。
あんた
Which-
名前は
you can't do.
ベアトリーチェはかつて私の名でしたが譲ってしまった今、私は名前を持ちません。ならば仮の名でも名乗りましょう。ワルギリアス。
Alright.
いえ、ワルギリアではいかがです？
Yeah, it's a little bit better. I think that rolls off the tongue a little bit better for Gilia.
ワルキュリア？神話の女神の名前だっけか。
いいえ、ベアトリーチェのもとへ導くものという意味です。煉獄さんの頂上にて待つあの子のもとへあなたを導く、その案内人にふさわしい名前でしょう。
魔女を否定する俺が魔女の助けを借りるとはな。
Again, I've already said it like 9 times.
なるほど。異なる主張が同時に存在で
There we
きる
go.
この矛盾した世界なら
That's the
それ
word.
もありってわけだ。笑える話だぜ。
あの子の言葉を借りるけど、本当にあなたは不死鳥のような人ね。戦う気力がもう蘇ってきた。さあ、心の準備がいいならあの子のもとへ、あの子の座するチェス盤の正面へお戻りなさい。私の弟子とどこまで戦えるか楽しみにしていますよ。
ああ、見てろよ。もうあいつの寝言には耳を貸さねえ。
No, you will. I mean, she does a whole lot of that. She does so much
とことん
goddamn
冷静に
talking
俺の戦いを貫いている。
and laughing and all that
もう
other
あいつの
shit.
挑発には絶対に乗らね
では戻りましょう。戦いの席へ。
Yeah, crawl out from underneath the table that you were crouched down under.
バートラー、そなたどこへ姿を消しておったのか。負け犬は二度と姿を現さないかと思ったぞ。
え。待たせたな。頭を冷やしてきたぜ。
それでわらわとお師匠様の愉快痛快爽快大喝采の素敵ファンタジーバトルへの回答は出たのかい？あんなのファンタジー以外じゃ説明不能だろ。
It just didn't happen. I mean, there's no evidence that it actually did happen. Nothing was left behind.
お嬢様、さっき親切で上品にすると お誓いになられたばかりですよ。
Yeah, let's please go for that.
いけねえいけねえ。バトラの顔を見てるとついつい上機嫌になってしまうものでな。ほれほれほれ、それでバトラ、さっきの戦いだがどういう反応を示してみせるよ。
バトル、何があったって？
何？
このバラ庭園のどこにお前らがニョキニョキ生やした
There you
塔
go.
が槍が
There's nothing left. It didn't actually
ねえ
happen.
じゃないか。つまりこいつがブラウン管の中身ってわけさ。
ブラウン管の中身と一体何の話を始めるやら。
今この瞬間バラ庭園には何もない。さっきまでは魔法で塔が生えていたかもしれねえさ。だがそれはブラウン管の中を知るまでだ。魔法バトルはお前の解釈、主張に過ぎない。今この場に何もないのがその証拠だ。
That's sort of how we've been going about it with everything else when you think about it. In episode 2, we were actually shown how people died. However, this was through Beatrice's story. This is her interpretation of how things went down. And then we're left with a really strange situation, Kanun having gone missing. However, we saw that he was, snapped away from this dimension or whatever. We don't know if, what the end result actually became. We saw that people died in crazy-ass ways from those goats. But afterwards, it was just dead bodies left behind. From point A to point B, the whole story between that, what really went down, we were just shown one side of the coin. We want the other side.
俺はさっきの魔女の戦いにこう反論する。今この場に何もないのは何事もなかったことの証明だとな。
さすがに第一の晩から大暴れはできぬし、わらわもこのバラ庭園は気に入っているのでな。被害を及ぼさないため結界の中で戦っておったのだ。だから現実には何の影響も与えていないのは当然のことよ。
それがお前の主張だな。ああ、それもありだろうな。だが今この瞬間のバラ庭園に何もない。だから魔法などなかったという俺の主張を何ら妨げるものではないんだ。
おいおい、そんなめちゃくちゃでわらわの魔法を否定できるのか？
I think he just did.
魔法がないは証明不能。悪魔の証明であるぞ。
今この瞬間のこのバラ庭園が真実だ。覗いた瞬間にブラウン管の中の妖精は蒸発する。そしてここには何の魔法の痕跡もない。だからお前らの魔女の戦いは行われなかった。
なんだその返し手は。
I like that actually. I really like that. Let's go back. Let's go back to that line. Did not take place. The way that it has the quotes around it. That does not exist. We've seen that before, right? We have. I think I'm beginning to see something that actually connects with all that.
その力はもしや。
お忘れですか、お嬢様。多層世界収縮術です。無限の魔女の力と対になる有限の魔女の力。無限の魔女にしか悟ることができず、そして無限の魔女にとって最も強力な効果を発揮します。
シュレディンガーの猫箱か。
Yeah, something like that.
老いぼれ魔女め、余計な入れ知恵を。
時間をロスった。使用人5人とじい様で6人の死体。状況を確認させてもらうぜ。俺がもたもたしてて時間を無駄にしちまった。ここからはサクサクいくぜ。席につけ、ベアトリーチェ。
Ooh, I like this.
ようやく
I like the confidence that he's just, coming out with.
どんと来やがれ。
No, I'm ready for it. Let's see what's up his sleeve now that he's had an opportunity to, as he said, cool his head, but more so, yeah, he was given a hint here. but a good hint indeed. I do think what we're being presented with really is a flip side sort of situation. We've been told all these things, but the thing is, there's a flip side to everything. So I think that's something that we should be highly considering going forward, especially when we see those quotes. That means that there's more to it. A flip side, kind of. Not necessarily entirely, but something to think about is that there's another side to what's been going on here. Every situation can be explained a completely different way because this is a story that's being told. This is possibly not actually what's, been going down. All these magic battles, we have to argue against them, but when we see them like this, nah. You can't just say, no, that didn't actually happen. Or can you? Eventually, we'll be able to connect back around, I feel. Maybe not immediately. Might not be able to explain all these closed room scenarios. May not be able to explain whatever the fuck happened to Kanun and what, happened with the fake Kanun and all that other bullshit in episode 2. Not immediately. Or maybe those things didn't even happen at all. It's hard to say. But I feel like we shouldn't just, give in to everything we're seeing quite yet. Accept what we're seeing now, sure, but maybe not accept it as the whole truth, Sort of what I'm thinking. Anyways, out of time for this one. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.